Shit, Ron. We always had that intro video.
You said intro that neither one of us was in, by the way.
Hey, when I start my OnlyFans, can y'all do my OnlyFans intro video?
Hey,
I'm gonna need something like that.
Who we got to talk to get put in the intro? What happened? What's up?
Facts. I think it's because we're Sox fans. They're gonna leave us out the real shit. That's exactly what happened.
Right there, man. That's inherent bias. What's going on?
I'm like, what is that intro? They get a little money. What'd you get your What'd you get, Vince? Your stimulus? Was that what happened? Like all of a sudden, Trump in office. He getting money. We know who he voted for. I see what's going on. A little money spreading around. Right. He calls him Uncle Trump.
Don't put that MAGA hat in the drawer anymore, Vince. Just go ahead and wear it proudly now. We know what side you want.
We know exactly who this voted for. Gosh darn. All right. So I don't have too much time. This is your off-season episode of, once again, the White Sox did what? We don't know, but it's always shocking, always disappointing. And we're here to also let you know how disappointed we probably are of White Sox moves. Harold, your host, and everyone's favorite co-host, JJ3, where we bring you all things White Sox all the time. And this is does this count as an emergency episode? Or what do we count this as? Just a quick recap of blah moves.
Emergency episode, winter meeting recap, however you want to phrase it. Either one works for me. I'm good with it.
All right, so hear me out. I've got this thing where winter meetings, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, and Angels, and then whatever they do, everyone else just says whatever, because it feels like that's the way the league is going. It's been like that for a while, but now it feels like that even more. What's the point of all the other teams if everyone's just going to let Yankees and Dodgers get all the free agents? I don't get that.
Hey, you can argue it's been like that for years and years and years. You can also argue that going forward, that's going to lead to a work stoppage, but that might be a spoiler for another day. But we're also here to talk about what the White Sox just did. So
start with the big trade of the week for the White Sox. On our first MAGA episode of What Did the White Sox Just Do, we have found out that the better White Sox have traded Garrett Crochet to the other Sox. I don't know what this relationship with the mismatched Sox that we have with the Red Sox, where we just give them our best pitchers, but whatever. With the Red Sox, and we give them Garrett Crochet, and they give us a bunch of people that I've never heard. Kyle Teal, he is a catcher. Outfielder, Brendan Montgomery. I think he's a right fielder. Infielder, Chase Myroth. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. And a right-handed pitcher, Wilkeman Gonzalez. Any pitcher with a Spanish last name, usually pretty high ceiling. I'll take my Spanish last name pitchers. Probably throw 200, has a nasty curveball. So we got, for those who are a fan of minor leagues, this is a haul to trade for a 25-year-old Crochet. I hear there's a few guys in the top 20 of prospects that we got. I'm not a big fan of prospects like that. I know you are, JJ3. So if you want to start it up, I'm not sure how familiar you are with these guys. I'm not, because I care that much about minor league stuff. But kick it off if you are familiar with them.
Well, Teal is, you already mentioned him. He's the catching prospect. He's the guy who's supposed to be the headliner of the trade. He was the fourth highest rated prospect in Boston's system, top rated catcher. He wasn't, even though he was the fourth best in their system, he wasn't, as high as some of their other prospects that they had. And I'm not even certain the White Sox necessarily requested to get the names that were above Teal, but Getz has placed a high value on young catchers. It's been a long time since the White Sox have had a reliable catcher that they can come in and really build with at a young age. Not someone that they just sign up as a free agent and hope he can get a couple of years out of them. So he's got upside, he's got talent, he's got athleticism. He's being groomed, so we'll see what happens with him. Brendan, who you mentioned, is likely projecting to be a second baseman, switch hitter. Pause just in case. There's talent
Hey,
there.
yo.
He was. I want to say he was the 11th best prospect in their system, in Boston's system. I mean, the other two guys rounded out the top 15, so I'm not necessarily concerned about those two. But Kyle Teal and Brendan were the two biggest names, and Teal being the guy who was the star of the deal, if you will. But like you said, the relationship. I mean, if we rewind the clock back 8 years, the White Sox made a trade with the Red Sox when they sent Chris Sale to Boston for Yoan Moncada and Michael Kopech. The Red Sox won a World Series off of that deal with Chris Sale. The White Sox are back in the rebuilding phase, and the players that they had did not pan out. Moncada didn't pan out. Kopech did not pan out here with the White Sox. I mean, we know he was traded to the Dodgers, and Dodger Blue playing in their stadium, and he over there helping them win the World Series. So it worked out eventually for the Dodgers. It just didn't work out for the White Sox.
So would you say we lost that trade?
I mean, at this point, with hindsight being what it was and being what it is always 2020, yeah, of course the White Sox lost that trade. I mean, it may have seemed promising at the time, and I was one who looked at it as a promising deal because at the time you made it, Yoan Moncada was the number one rated prospect in baseball at the time you made that deal. But that kind of goes to your point that you always say you don't care about prospects. You might be the
At
number
all.
one rated prospect overall. That doesn't mean you're going to translate to being an elite player in the sport.
I
At the
feel like
major league,
prospects just means that you're at least a starter in the league if you're a top prospect. But like you
it
said, it
means you
doesn't
have
necessarily mean
talent.
you're an all-star.
White Sox main problem is growth and development within their system. They don't develop players very well. It's primarily everyday position players. The White Sox don't do well developing everyday position players. They they've always struggled with it. Pitchers, we know they can develop pitchers very well. There's a long track record of that. But when it comes to everyday position players, not so much. And so Yoan Moncada, if he was traded to, let's say Moncada was picked up by the Dodgers, who's to say Moncada wouldn't have blossomed into being a 300 hitter consistently on a yearly basis with the talent that he had? I'm not saying that would have happened 100%. We'll obviously never know. He's not going to be back in the White Sox jersey next year, so we'll see what happens with him. But not to segue too far from the original topic. It's just strange to see the direction of this organization when 8 years ago you made a rebuild trade, and now here you are again 8 years later, repeating the exact same steps with the exact same team, trading again with the Boston Red Sox, a highly touted, incredible pitcher in Garrett Crochet, who was coming off of a heck of a season.
Heck of
Um,
a season.
I mean, he not Chris Sale, but the season that he had, he can become Chris Sale. And
Well, no, we gave them another Chris Sale, even though Chris Sale is having a better Braves run than he is a Red Sox run because a lot of Red Sox fans were actually disappointed when they got Chris Sale.
he got hurt.
We literally true, but that's why they're disappointed. And then he goes on Braves and he's back to Cy Young winner. So his Cy Youngs are literally White Sox Braves. But to talk about the Red Sox, now with Crochet, because they never really had a true number one. They had Tanner Hook, who was a great number 2 or 3 pitcher, in my opinion. Cutter Crawford, another pretty good 3, not even 2 or 3. And then they got, guys that have been around for a while. I'm pretty sure Bello's been around for a while. And then they have a Lucas Giolito, who, another former White Sox. He was a number 1 for us. To be a number 5 for them, 5 for them, if he is back to form, that is a nasty rotation with Crochet at the 1, Tanner Hawk at 2, Cutter at 3, then probably Crochet at 4, and then Bello at 5. They're right back to business with a really mean rotation, in my opinion, and true number 1 in Crochet. And then, they still got pretty good hitting. I think this trade brings Red Sox back, and I don't like that because then it's deja vu of the original trade when we traded Chris Sale. We deja vu of making the Red Sox better immediately and hoping these prospects that no one knows their names pan out just to start over and do this over again in another 5 years. It is very frustrating being a White Sox fan.
It is definitely very frustrating. You're right. You shouldn't have to continue to go through constant rebuilds without any major success. I mean, if the White Sox had, progressed to the playoffs year in and year out, if they had gotten to a World Series or, won a World Series, right? If we want to live that pipe dream, if they had won a World Series with this group and then decided we need to break it up, we need to go into a rebuild and build it back again, that would be easier to digest for White Sox fans. You didn't win
Hell,
anything. You made it to the playoffs a couple of times. You won a division.
not
And
just
now you're
that,
breaking
we're,
it up
we're not
again.
we're not paying anybody. Who the fuck are we paying to even rebuild? I don't understand paying someone, and you've got one of the cheapest rosters in the league. We're not paying any fucking body. What are we rebuilding for? Murdered who? Sorry, random.
Because we got a rebuilding because we got an owner who doesn't like to pay big money. That's why we're rebuilding once again. Frustrating, and it leads into the direction of this team. Where are they going after you set a new record for most losses in the history of the sport? You won
We're,
41 games, and
we're,
now
we're gonna
you
try to beat that record. That's what we're going for. We're going for beating that record.
Sox trying to lose 128, 130 next year. You think?
Oh yeah, we're going for it all. Why not?
Additionally to the trade is the biggest news, obviously. But the White Sox still have other potential moves to make and other moves that they did make. The Rule 5 draft last week. It's a draft that prevents teams from essentially stashing young players that aren't on their full roster, their 40-man roster. So
Wait. Before we get there, just real quick insert. We don't need to talk about it all. We did pick up a free agent from the Cubs that didn't give a shit about him either. Mike Talkman.
yeah.
I think he is off the top of my head, I think he is a center fielder, which hint, um, might be the starter replacement for Robert for moving him, I believe.
Hint, potential spoiler for part of this episode. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the Sox drafted Shane Smith from the Brewers. They picked him up in the Rule 5 draft. We'll see what he could potentially do. If he does anything at all. I mean, you never know. It's just another one of the moves that they made. And then you already sort of teased it. Potentially the White Sox may not be done wheeling and dealing away their best players because Luis Robert may still be on the trade block this offseason before the year begins next year. So you never know what may happen. I mean, during the season, we had our best guesses of potentially what could happen with Luis Robert if he did get traded or not, similar to what we did with Crochet. Right now, do you want to make a wild guess of if the Sox trade him, where you think he might end up?
Rumors I'm seeing Cincinnati Reds. I don't understand why, but Cincinnati really wants Louis. I mean, Luis Robert. He's a 5-tool player, which you don't even find in most drafts. So it blows my mind. We're even moving him that we haven't even really paid him, and if we do have to pay him, it's going to be a team friendly contract because it's not like he's an MVP that we have to pay $760 million to. Nothing makes sense with these White Sox, but we're trading. Probably going to give a team friendly deal to another not so good team for a bunch of okay prospects. Do we need any more prospects? We just purchased Colson Montgomery. He's in the minors. I think he's rated high. I know we let go a bunch of people. We let go Gavin Sheets. He's a free agent. DeSantos, he's a free agent. Nicky Lopez is now a free agent. Of course, Moncada, Peralta. I don't even know if we have a full roster right now to be making these trades. But yeah, no, that's the rumor. The leading runners right now for Robert is Cincinnati Reds. But with the way things are going, I won't be shocked if Angels come out of nowhere and come out of nowhere with the RKO and come and get Robert because why not?
I actually wouldn't be mad at either one of those potentially. I'd be cool with Cincinnati. I'd be cool with the Angels. I
I
doubt
feel
he'd
like
do
the
anything
big
with either
four.
team. I'd be cool with it. I wouldn't want. I don't. Let me back it up though. I don't want him to be traded, but
Right.
if a trade goes through, I could see either one of those teams as being a possible.
I actually wouldn't be shocked at the Yankees either because I do remember a while back Cashman out of nowhere talking about Luis Robert. And after you lose Soto, now I'm not saying Robert is the hitter Soto is, but to replace Soto with the 5 tool guy, I could see
Right.
that happening as well. Aaron Judge plays what, center field? Soto was right field, I believe. I could see a switch of getting Luis or Robert in there to get right field and get a 5 tool guy. While it's not a makeup for Soto, but you definitely get a better defense. So I feel the big four, one of the big four in Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, and Angels is gonna get Robert. It
I
just
think the
makes the
biggest
most
thing is
sense.
I think the biggest thing is the compensation. If we rewind the clock again and look at Chris Getz's track history to this point so far, he's made some trades that have been real shaky. Maybe this is the best trade he's made to this point. I mean, again, he is learning on the job. Obviously, this is his first go around. He was just in scouting. Now he's running the whole show. I wasn't a fan of any of his previous trades to this point. I didn't like the Cease trade really. I didn't like the Fetty trade he made. So hopefully he's getting better at these deals. Hopefully they start to bear some fruit going forward. Um, can he make one of these deals and make them positive for the White Sox in the long run? I mean, we have to sort of watch and wait to find out. Um, but hey, man, if this is how it's going to go down, you know, get your money's worth, right? So Luis Robert last year, we can admit, was not his best year by far. Right? He didn't have a great year.
Facts.
No one in the White Sox had a great year in 2024. But prior to that, 2023, 2022, like he was playing at an all-star level. Um, that's the level of compensation you want to get back for an all-star, like you said, center fielder. You want to try to maximize that level of compensation. Don't let teams sort of walk you down and give you less than compensation because his 2024 year was a down year. He's had much better years than that. So dig your feet in, man. If you're going to make this trade for Luis Robert, whether it's now or whether it's prior to the season beginning, if you're going to make this trade, dig your feet in, stand your ground, and get back a haul, get back something that we can look at and say, okay, we got high value for our guy.
Though I'm pretty sure that won't happen.
Kind of sure
But
that won't happen. I don't have my
yeah,
hopes.
but yeah, I do agree that's the route that you take. But I feel like Getz is just offloading whoever he can, whenever he can, and I
He
feel like
got
this
his
is going to be
marching orders.
close.
He got his
This is
marching
going
orders
to
from Gary.
absolutely. This is going to be closer to a Cease deal than it will the Crochet deal. I think Crochet is an unarguable number one on most teams. I'm sure he got offers from everyone and just said, "Hey, who are the best prospects?" I think this one's a little here, um, for a few reasons. I don't think teams want to give up a ton for Robert because he's not. He's probably leaving in free agency. Whereas I believe Crochet was like, "Hey, you have to sign me to a big contract, whoever trades for me." I think Sox are ready to offer him big money. I don't know if whatever
No.
team trades for Red Sox.
Oh, you say Red Sox? I don't think they're there yet. I think they will
Well,
be there eventually, but I don't think they're
well,
there yet.
if his season goes like the next season goes like last season, they'll offer him whatever because I think he's the new sale for them. But
Okay.
Robert, I don't think he's. I think the only team friendly deal that was going to happen was for the White Sox. But if we're going to move him, the next team's going to have to pay him a bag, and I don't see Reds doing that. But I do see a team doing that. But I feel like he's going to be a 1 year rental that he's done, and then he'll get his bag.
Okay.
Barrett's situation is a little bit different because of the money in contract, which only tells me he's going to have a great year if he's going to hit free agency. So we're about to again move a guy who's probably going to have a great year, hit free agency, probably get a bag from the Mets.
The Mets.
The Mets are like, hey, you want to come over here and make 200, 300 million? Come on. Because apparently you only need one great season in top 10 to be get a bag from the Mets. So that's kind of everyone's goal now. Just get in top 10 for one season, and they will give you 760 million.
Hey, we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, I think we covered everything we need to cover, right?
That's it. Unless you want to, I'm going to start
making about why we hate Jerry and why Vince is a MAGA stan.
All right, so let's get. So why are Jerry and Vince MAGA stands? Like, where do they be getting this money from? And they kind of spend the same. Like, what are you making? Like, where are you being paid
for this?
Yeah.
Oh, this is slave labor right here. I'm working in this shop.
So we might as well call this the White Sox payroll podcast because ain't nobody getting paid here. Ain't nobody getting paid in the White Sox. The White Sox. Welcome to the White Sox payroll podcast, where we're MAGA. Let's go.
And we don't even get put in the intro at all. That's how you know we slave labor.
That's crazy. We ain't get put nice. I saw big ass in there. I saw Rick and what's his face
right there in the front.
Come on, we should be first.
Sitting there front and center, but neither one of us.
Absolutely. Did you fly that drone yourself? Did you get a real videographer? What is happening here?
Man, come on now.
But
it's really good.
Yeah, eventually we gonna get some of that respect. Eventually, but clearly not right now until the White Sox start winning.
I demand my respect right now. Stop playing with me.
Well, welcome to the White Sox payroll podcast, where we get paid just as much as all the other White Sox players. Oh shit, we gotta pay this. Trade him. Hey, when you get traded, you think we gonna get traded to the? Let's get traded to Barstool.
They ask you for money, send him down the street, bro. Get him up out of here. Zip him up.
Facts. Go. Hey Vince, trade us to Barstool. Like if we can trade between podcasts, trade us to Barstool. They would love our personalities on there because I don't even like none of them except Big Cat. Big Cat's the only decent one. Yeah, trade us to Barstool, and they'll give you like 4 prospects for us.
You treat us like we workers in China or something. What's up?
Absolutely, fucking slave labor.
Yeah.
We have the the Hong Kong White Sox in this bitch. All right, well. Everybody, thanks for tuning into our, I don't want to call it emergency episode. I want to call it disappointing White Sox news episode. And see you guys again when more disappointing news comes. Because I don't like our direction, but some of you guys do because you guys like young players. Kelly, you guys like young talent. I'm not the biggest fan of young talent, but it is what it is. We'll see how it pans out. Maybe this run might be different. You never know. Getz has a plan. I don't see it, but I know he has a plan.
We'll see what happens.
All right. On that note, peace out. Love you guys. Bye.
Later.
Thanks for listening to this latest edition from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Whether you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And all my homies from Chicago, we say 3 things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.